So I'm actually starting these projects primarily because I am way ahead on videos. I think I have 4 already made, plus 1 is probably not going to take too much longer, I hope. I'm really not liking it, but I'm going to finish it. So I decided I was going to try and maybe sell some knives locally. So where I live, it's, middle of nowhere, so fancy medieval stuff or post-apocalyptic equipment really isn't popular, but hunting is. So I was gonna try and forge some hunting knives. So spring steel. I just cut into chunks. They're probably about 6-ish inches long. I just cut them in half. They don't look very big now, but once you start thinning them out, they're actually decent sized. So I had enough to make 4 of them, and I was just gonna make them, but I'm like, well, I might as well make a video. So yeah, this is how to forge some hunting knives, or at least how I'm gonna do it. Because you look up forged hunting knives, no two look anywhere close to the same. Now that I have these rough forged to shape, I'm going to put them in the vise and grind them. I want them to be a little bit more uniform, but what can you do? I'm going to start grinding them. So now that we have our knives roughly sanded to shape, I'm gonna start making the guard. For the guard, I basically just took these pieces of steel, 3/16 by about 1 inch. They're not the straightest cut, and that's still a bit warm. But I went ahead and drilled 2 3/16 holes in it. And what I'm gonna do is take a grinder and cut out the space between those for my tang to fit in, and then I'll just file them to shape to where they actually fit. Hopefully this won't take too long, but in the past it's could take a while, unfortunately. Okay, so now that we have our handles attached, I end up just heating them up a bit and hammering them into place because I'm lazy and my file's getting dull. Anyway, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a couple of pinholes in this before I heat treat the blade, or sand this out a little bit and then heat treat it. My basic plan, well, the reason this looks like this and the rest of the blade is I normalize this a couple times to soften it up because this will ruin steel, or not ruin steel. This steel will ruin drill bits pretty quick, so I find if it's softer it drills through just fine, but you know, it has issues sometimes. Just, anyway, I'm gonna use 3/16. Make sure you use, enough lubricant. And I'm gonna use brass pins that are 3/16 because it's what I bought at the hardware store. So, after a lot more sanding than I wanted to, and a lot of cutting, I have my knife at this point. I already pre-drilled my holes before I heat treated and tempered them. Forgot to film. But I have my scales. These are just pieces of hickory, cut down and then cut in half. You can't really cut them lengthwise with a saw very well, so I do this by hand with 4 of these, so it's a real pain. But I figured the easiest way to actually drill my holes is to just put it in the vise one at a time. Use a hand drill. Usually I just use a drill press, but I always end up making a mess and it's a real pain. Like most things it seems. So I decided I'm just gonna try this and see if it works. Okay, so now that I have it etched and handle scales glued on, you can see the JB Weld sticking in. I forgot to film it, and it was getting pretty late when I did it, so just tired and didn't get it done. But I use JB Weld for knife handles like this. I was using just some rubber cement. Really good stuff, really strong, but I find if it heats up, it doesn't stick anymore. So for pins and stuff like these, JB Weld works because you can pretty much hit the blowtorch and it doesn't do anything. But what I'm going to do now is take a Farrier's rasp and shrink this down, get as close as we can, and then sand out with a belt sander, and then go at it by hand. And then do it to the other 3 of these. I can make these to sell, and I forget how much work that actually is. And why I always do custom builds. Okay, so now that everything's all sharpened up, got ourselves a pretty decent hunting knife, or more specifically, 4 of them. I don't know if I said this at the beginning, pretty sure I did, that I'm actually planning on selling these. Not online, for anyone who's watching this has been asking me about it. I'm actually trying to sell these just kind of around where I live. Hunting's a pretty big thing here. So I'm hoping I can sell some of these. Plan on making some leather sheaths for them. I actually kind of started getting the leather working specifically for these, but I've been wanting to do it for a while anyway. However, I was making 4. I'm only able to really sell 3 of them because this one, I don't know how well you can really see that, but the blade, yeah, there you can see it is a little warped. And also, this little clip is being filmed probably 3 weeks after they were made, so it's been sitting in my shop for a little bit. And I never oiled it like I did this one. So it's got a bit of rust on it. What I am going to do though is, since I can't in good conscience sell it because, well, it's bent, I decided why not beat the hell out of it and just see what it can do. So this will be the one I'm using for my tests, which sucks. I really like the way the handle looks. Burnt hickory looks really good. But anyway, bent blade's a bent blade, so let's, wow, that didn't work. Well, let the test begin. Okay, so quick follow-up on that throw. The handle, or the guard, is a bit loose. If I remember correctly, this one already was, so I'm guessing whatever glue was holding it on is no longer holding it on. And the tip, you really can't see it, is chipped just a bit from hitting the concrete floor. That is extremely dirty. Not relevant to it chipping, but it just is. Honestly, if you're hitting a knife against concrete, it's gonna chip. You see all those videos where people break concrete blocks with their swords and knives. The blade is ruined the moment that happens. I mean, it might hold up, but there's no edge left on it. And the guard was already kind of a defect that I had sort of fixed, but now isn't. Again, none of the others have this issue, but this one does. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna go, I don't know, maybe cut some water bottles, chop some wood, and maybe juggle. I'm not doing that, I can't juggle. But anyway, let's go. Still sharp. I mean, it's no straight razor, but I figured it'd like chip the edge or something. It's just removing the edge a little bit. Huh. I'm not gonna lie, I expected a lot worse from where. Not even a chip. Okay, so I was doing some more playing around with this knife, using it as a throwing knife against my old anvil stand from a long time ago. Okay, it's been less than a year, but still. Well, I missed the stump. I hit a little high and accidentally hit right here. This is the, it's a plate that they used for attaching the railroad track to the railroad tie. I don't know what it's made out of, but this kind of made a mark in it. And the tip isn't really any more damaged than it was before I threw it. I don't really know how much more testing I can really do. Like, it's too light to really chop wood, I tried. But honestly, I've beaten the hell out of it, and it's scratched up because it has an etch on it. And it's dulled a little bit, and of course the tip's broken off because I'd been stabbing it in the steel. But honestly, it's held up a lot better than I thought it would. And the only damage was, of course, this is loose, but it was loose the moment I first dropped it. Most of my knives don't do that. This one was just loose, and I shoved glue in it that didn't stick very well. So honestly, this knife is pretty durable beyond just being warped slightly. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Okay, that did not stay very well. First try.